A very warm good evening to all those who are present here today. I am Alankrita from the Fair Gaze team, and today we are gathered here for a well-being webinar, which is called Awareness on Mental Health Day, with our webinar facilitator, Dr. Madhumati Singh, who's a child psychologist and director at Fair Gaze. I welcome you, ma'am. So, before I hand over the session to ma'am, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So before I hand over the session to ma'am today, let's talk a little more on why we are gathered here. As we all know, World Mental Health Day is on 10th October. So Fairgaze in association with Lamington Model Senior Secondary School Ladakh and Delhi Public School Gautam Budh Nagar has taken this initiative to make more and more students aware, not only aware about mental health, but also to engage them with us so that they can speak about their fears and battles. Today's webinar is all about the awareness stage. Also, we have opened a platform for students to submit their stories, either in writing or videos about fears, anxieties that you faced, and if you battled them. These stories will be kept anonymous as per your wish, and if you want, and will be published on our website. Your stories do not have a word limit. So the most interesting story will be read out by Dr. Madhumati Singh in the extended episode of Coffee with Counselors on 9th October 2020 at 5 p.m. So you can submit an interview also. So there are two ways. You can either submit a story and you can submit an interview in text or video. The interview has to have two questions to be asked from any fellow student. You can go and ask these questions to anyone who's feeling free to share, and yeah, there are three questions, and you can select two. And I will be sharing the details, the questions on the chat box. Also, if apart from this webinar session, if any one of you feels that you require further help, you can feel free to go to our website and book an appointment with our counselors. They will intervene and guide you. So, in whichever case, just know that you're not alone. I will therefore request everyone to submit your stories and come up with anything that you feel like sharing. So, as the hashtag of the campaign goes, let's open up. If anyone feels like asking or interacting today in between the session, you can feel free to raise your hand using the Zoom app option, and then we will be able to unmute you and your questions will be answered. So, with that, I would like Dr. Madhumati to please take over the session, ma'am.
Thank you, Alankrita. It looks to be a very colorful board here. That is the Fair Gaze platform for starting this whole concept of educating and making the students aware about mental health. And it is not just about sermons, somebody's yakking and telling you all kinds of data and stories. It's about your participation. It's talking about your thoughts. Fairgaze is a platform for you students, each one of you. And this platform provides you not only to share, but also within the sharing, helps you grow up, become more aware, become more educative. And what best way each year in October, that is the first week of October, we commemorate it, or we say we dedicate it to mental health. The WHO, the World Health Organization banner, since 1992 has started this concept of making 10th October as the World Mental Health Day. Now, why didn't we think of this before? Why just 1992? Yes, it's true. You know that science and health, we have progressed way ahead in terms of cardiology. It could be surgeries. It could be, having a new liver, having a new limb. So physical health, there has been a huge load of awareness, advances, and improving our standard of living, right? Including our quality of life, including our span of life. People are living much more than their years compared to our generations, few generations before. So good physical health is definitely very nice. And then the international agencies felt that we have something known as the headquarter. We all have, this is our headquarter. Whatever happens here affects the rest of the body. And this headquarter has been somewhere taken for granted. One, not sure what it is, what this headquarter has, this particular part of the body. We don't know much about it. And we are assuming that till it doesn't show a problem, everything is okay.
Yes.
So students, it will be good that you people within, like Alankrita said, make this particular program interactive with all of us. You are free to ask questions, but let's set the ball rolling about what exactly are we doing this evening. Like I said, the headquarters. So we wait for a news item to tell us, oh, there's something known as, suicide. There's something known as depression. Depression is something, youngsters know now. Maybe 2 generations back, they did not know. They thought it's something only the adults go through, or the elderly go through. However, that is the reason today we are sitting here. Why are we talking about mental health with youngsters? Isn't it something isn't it for the adult thing, where you have anxiety and you have depression? That's something which older people go through. No, that's the misnomer. And that's the reason why we are saying.
Ma'am, you're not audible.
I think.
Yes.
No, I think it's some little bit network issues here at my place. So time and again, you'll just have to bear up with it, I guess.
Ma'am, you're audible now.
Okay. So what are we talking about mental health? The first and foremost, the most important part is that mental health does not start in adulthood. That's a misconcept. Then we say, okay, if it doesn't start at adulthood, then when does it start? We don't see it. Now, that is what we are trying to do today, is generally speaking, do you know the world has about 10 to 13% of our population in the world, including India. 10 to 13% of our population has mental health disorders, which is quite a worrisome number. And the problem starts in teenage time. You'll be surprised, right, kids? You'll be saying, really, does the problem start in teenage? So what are the symptoms? What happens? And I think it's a super platform. You know what Fairgaze has said something, what they say is, let's open up. What do we need to open up? A lot of stories that we all have when we are growing up, especially we are talking about children, and I'm talking about mental health incidents becoming, it starts in teenage. So when we're saying let's open up, what does it mean? It means there are certain things we all go through in growing up years. All of us go through it. All of us, by the way, in some way or the other, are coping with stress, a crisis, a trauma. A child, for example, is unable to feel confident with mathematics as a subject. So do you know there's something known as dyscalculia? Dyscalculia now is recognized as a learning difficulty. It's not a disability. A learning difficulty where you need specialized, a different way of learning, teaching and learning. That is something we do. So, for example, if a kid who doesn't understand concepts of maths is scared of numbers, that person will start avoiding examination. The moment there's exams, midterm, half yearly, this kid starts to panic. She or he develops fever, starts vomiting, cold shivers, total mind blank. And what do we call this? It's exam phobia. Now you'll say, oh my God, we never knew that this is something most of us went through in some way or the other. That doesn't mean we fall sick. We all cope with that sickness and try to help ourselves. So one of the ways is to understand that each one of us sitting here, each one of us, including if your parents also somewhere in and around you, all of us have gone through some kind of a crisis. It could be some kind of a trauma. For example, there are children who sometimes do say that my parents are a little strict. One parent, for example, hitting children, slapping, some kind of violence has happened inadvertently. No parent wants to voluntarily choose to be violent, but they also do not know. They also lack the awareness that that can cause some form of trauma and fear. Trauma means that you've gone through something upsetting, and then you develop a fear towards authority figure or anger. We all get angry, when our father or mother is angry and gets upset, we get angry with them. So anger is not the right thing to do. So what happens in our growing up years, kids, is that we all go through so many things. And Fair Gaze here is helping you say, open up. We have psychologists, counselors, trainers who will be able to assist you in how to move forward. We all have stories. Please understand there's nothing to be ashamed of in terms of the moment you speak about your story, you become more confident. You don't take it upon yourself. You don't feel ashamed of it. So don't feel ashamed. Don't feel, oh, this is something that's happened to me, and if I tell to somebody else, then people will laugh at me. It's not like that. Times are changing, and we are getting more and more aware about mental health. So anybody here who would like to tell which is the country which has the highest incidence of mental health patients, the maximum number of mental health patients. Does anybody know which country? Don't need to Google it. Use your common sense. And I think COVID will give you a good, COVID incidence will give you a good answer to that. We're going through difficult times. And I think this 2020 year, by the way, the WHO still hasn't come up with a theme of what the mental health theme should be for 2020. See, because we are coping with yet another, it's like a pandemic. It is a pandemic, and it is a turning point for the society, for humanity. This COVID-19, which is 2020, that the problem started. So we are still coping with that. That has a separate set of problems that we are going through. So, for example, last year, the WHO theme for World Mental Health Day was suicide prevention. Each year there is a theme. So does anybody, oh yes, we got an answer. There are a couple of them. United States, yes, that's the correct answer. Absolutely right. So do you know that United States of America, Colombia, and the Ukraines and Netherlands, there are 4 countries, in fact, which are very much sadly competing, very sadly, they have the highest incidence of mental health disorders. And can you make out the what is the common point between all of them? They're all developed countries, highly consumeristic, on the fast track, short term, everything is short term. And I'm giving a generalization, just observe it. It's maybe COVID time is here to say, slow down. Not everything needs to be a competition. When parents tell the kids, you have to get your A pluses, you have to get your A, you have to be the best student in the class. We as parents put them on a track which is going to cause anxiety, which is going to cause some kind of a psychological breakdown. You know why? Because it's not that competition is bad. It's good if you compete with yourself. Only when the kid herself or himself says, you know what, I got 70%, I can try for 75 in my midterm. I want to, because it feels good. Why does it feel good? Because the teacher says, good, bright student, mommy is happy, papa is happy, I'm happy. So when you plan, your goals are directed to self-growth. That is empowerment. The other part is more getting in a rut, what we say, a rut. Do you know people who are IIT, who get an MBA, then they go to corporate sectors, they go to America, some other country, and then they just leave their jobs and come back here and do social service or start their own business venture or do an NGO work with them, right? So what happened? What happened was that there was a discrepancy between what the society wanted them to do and what they themselves want to do. So one more time, kids, I think it's a great thing. We are having people sharing with us, and it's great that we welcome all the students and teachers from Lamdon Model Senior Secondary School, Ladakh, and we also have the DPS Noida school with us. So it's a fabulous platform. Very, very bright kids out here. And anybody who wants to share their biggest fear, students, all of us, we all have fears. I have fears. Piyush has. Yeah. Anybody here who would like to share? And I think, yes, first we need to say congrats to Stanzen, who gave the right answer, that United States is one of the countries which has the highest incidence of mental health disorders. So what about anybody who has fears? Want to share their biggest fears? What is their biggest fear? Let's start with, maybe I can start, and anybody in Fairgaze can also join in. Anybody who's like to share with us about your fears, growing up fears. It could be even now kind of fears. We all have fears. So the way to overcome fears is one of the ways to overcome fears is, first and foremost, we cannot survive independently, totally on our own. We always need help, all of us. If you don't seek help, it could be a small thing, it could be a very small thing. So don't take upon life as one big burden that you need to carry on your shoulder. There are people around you. It could be a teacher. It could be your best friend's mother, for example. You get along better with her mother than your mother, maybe. Or it could be a mentor. It could be somebody in the family whom you look up to. It could be even professional help, like here in Fairgaze. We are looking at, it's a forum for the students' development. And it is all-round development of how the kid first has to take care of the headquarters. Do you know that whatever you say here is what happens in the body? Why are we emphasizing things like meditation? It was not there. Now it's even in the curriculum. We have yoga, we have meditation. Why? Why are we doing that? Why was it not there 20, 30 years back? Because earlier we were not aware. So the awareness program is what Fairgaze is the platform is all about today. And we are going to have a series of webinars to commemorate the International Mental Health Week. And the Mental Health Day celebration or commemoration is 10th of October every year. And we are all gathered here to make our headquarters stronger. So meditation, what does meditation and yoga do? It helps you calm down your thoughts and focus on the very reason we are alive. We are alive because we are breathing in oxygen and breathing out carbon dioxide. How simple, just that much. Is that why we are alive? Yeah, that is the biggest reason we are alive. So if you focus on something so for granted, we take it for granted, right? We don't even realize we're breathing because our focus is on, getting your 99%, your IIT admissions, the kind of job you want, the kind of money you want to make. So we take the very basic of why are we alive for granted. When your energies are focused on meditation, your thoughts become calmer. When they become calmer and actually they slow down, you are able to put the priority? What is the most important thing for you? Automatically, you don't have to do anything. It's not an agenda. Meditation itself is, it's almost like sugar in tea. You just mix it automatically. The tea becomes, or the milk becomes sweet. You don't have to do anything. It happens on its own. So coming back to, let's open up. Let's share our stories. Let's find out from each other what is it that we as youngsters go through in our growing up years. Guys, do you know which is the countries which have the least incidence, least amount of mental health problems? Does anybody know that? The least. You'll be surprised. The least. Anybody who knows which countries, which 2 or 3 countries have the least incidence of mental health disorders? And you can raise your hand and speak. You can raise your hand and speak. You are welcome to be part of the forum. We are all in it together. Feel free to answer. Which is the country?
Yeah, ma'am, I just know that the Netherlands and Holland and all these countries have the happiness index. I have the highest happiness index.
Absolutely.
Netherlands and
yes. Can I have your name, please? Who is this?
Yeah, I'm Arpana Garg from DPS TBN school.
Lovely, 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 Arpana. Yes, you're right. So right. Absolutely. We are looking at Nigeria. We are looking at Shanghai and Italy. There are a few countries. And do you know that Bhutan does not talk about the GDPs, and what do they talk about? They calculate, yes, the happiness index. Yes, happiness index. So see how important it is. Our wellness does not depend upon how much of money we make, because everybody who's making money, eventually it gives a high in the beginning, and then it loses its value because it is not the deep lying happiness index. So it's not the economy in terms of number, but happy people that makes up a more satisfied, comfortable place to live in. So thank you, Arpana. That has been a good input. Share some fears you had when you were growing up. It's good to share. Come on. There's so many of us who would love to. Let's share from, each other's experiences. Arpana, would you like to share with us? Anybody else? We are here. All of us are. We are here to hear your stories. And growing up is the time, the teenage time is the time when, yes, is there somebody?
Yeah, so ma'am, we are having Miss Arpana ma'am. She want to share her stories.
Yes, surely. Sure, Arpana, please.
Hello.
Yes, hi, Arpana, we can hear you.
Yeah, I was saying that like growing up, I've been scared of. Hello.
Yes.
Am I
yes.
audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was saying that growing up, I've been scared of dogs. I don't know. Somehow I'm very scared of dogs. I don't know where the fear has come from, but dogs are something that I'm very scared of.
Are you still scared of dogs even now?
Not so much, but I really don't like to go near them too much. Like it's still a difficult thing for me.
Very interesting. So see, we all live with something we learn to cope with and keep a distance away. Distance. Like Arpana ma'am said, kids, all of you heard, she said that I really don't know where it's coming from. So we don't need to find out where it is coming from. One, as long as your fears are not interfering in your day-to-day working. For example, if Arpana ma'am was a veterinary doctor, if she was a vet, and if she says in the forum today in Fair Gaze, that I'm scared of dogs, then we'll all be thinking, oh, then ma'am would be able to work too effectively, no, as a vet, if she's scared of dogs. In her case, she's a teacher. And if she has a phobia, or I won't say phobia, a fear for dogs, it could be because of many reasons. We don't know the reasons why. As long as your fears are not interfering in your job, your day-to-day functioning, your interactions with people, and overall adjustment, we learn to live with it. It's perfectly okay. So not an issue, not an issue. Like ma'am said that I'm a little better now, but I still like to keep away a bit. It's okay. We don't need to analyze too much. So let's look at life a little more simplistically. Let's look at what kind of fears are there which carry forward. You know, all of us in our growing up years are scared of something or the other. Like I have one child now, she's a young adult now, and she has phobias for lizards and snakes, basically reptiles. So earlier we did not address that as a problem. But now it is so bad that she cannot enter a place anywhere unfamiliar, a new place, without first somebody going and checking if there are any lizards on behind the door, any new place except her own house. Slowly, her fear is making her life a little more difficult, a little more challenging. Now you'll say, yes, that happens when the problem becomes bigger with time. Then what do we need to do? The way to deal with fears is, like, what is that ad, guys? Would you be able to help me? Somebody at Fairgaze? क्या है किसके आगे जीत है? डर के आगे जीत है? That Pepsi ad or something. Anybody would be able to guide? Tell me. Mountain Dew. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prakhar. Mountain Dew wala ad tha. Dar ke aage hi jeet hai. That's the right one. Correct. So you face what you're scared of. Now, this particular girl is in therapy. This child I'm talking about, who's a young adult, she's in therapy, and there's systematic methods which we call as desensitization process. So first step is she understands this fear as illogical. Lizards are not dangerous. Am I right? Except very few in South America which are poisonous. Very few. We are living in India. So to acknowledge that I am fearful irrationally. Irrational. It's not a rational fear. Acknowledge that, first step. Then we talk of in session, for example, she's in session. There are very many methods of doing that. Then we tell the person to say, okay, watch some videos, some photographs of what you are fearful of. That's the first step. Then the second step is, okay, you draw one. Second step, draw it. Then the third step is, okay, I've got a gift for you for birthday, or you come with me, I'll buy you something. And you take her to a toy shop and buy her a rubber or a plastic lizard, which she can look at, hold it. That is a method, what we call as overcoming our fears, which is desensitization process. It's again a therapeutic process. So we all can overcome all our fears that we have. People have fears for lifts, going in a lift, closed spaces, claustrophobia. Agoraphobia is for heights, right? So dealing with our mind is the first step to wellness. If somebody is to really ask me, if you have a family member who has a heart problem, okay, who's going through help and treatment and so on, and you have another family member who is having, let's say, bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, is going through a mental disorder treatment. Which of the two patients are more difficult to manage, more serious? We think it's the cardio one, no? The one who has a heart problem? No. It's people who have a mental disorder, a mental dysfunction. Mood disorders, for example. Mood disorders is called bipolar. Bipolar is, now you'll say mood disorder, ma'am, you mean I'm moody, I'm also having bipolar. No. We all are moods oriented. I repeat, when your mental condition affects your life, that you're not able to lead a relatively normal life, Normal life would mean what? Go to school, finish your assignments, do your homework, have a good relationship with your family members, relatively satisfactory, have some significant friends, have effective communication. Those are normal stuff. When we are not able to do, then we do go through what we say is a mental disorder, right? So, can anybody share with me, like I said, any fear, anybody else who has a fear?
Yes,
Arpana, ma'am, yes,
ma'am, Piyush this side.
yes, Piyush.
So my fear is, I'm fear of enclosed places. So for
Hmm.
me, like I can't stay in the tight spaces, like tight rooms, so small rooms. So this is my fear.
Hmm. Hmm. Very nice. Okay, so Piyush has brought up exactly what we were talking about, one of them. So these are very, very common fears. It's nothing to say, oh, it's only me who goes through it. No. That's why I just randomly talked about claustrophobia, closed places. Closed places can be, people, for example, jahan traffic jam hota hai, lots of traffic jam, there's no place to go. Now you're stuck there. Or a lift, it's just closed spaces, or smaller rooms, or too many people, a marketplace where there are too many people. Now you can't run, you have to walk with them. So a lot of us go through it, and Piyush sir has also kind of shared with us. Very nice of him. And we are all going to share, which is that claustrophobia is something. So first, yeah. Yes, Piyush? Piyush, you're saying something?
So, ma'am, now we have. No, I was saying, ma'am. So, one another student raised hand, Kunga Gyalmo. He want to ask raise question.
Please do, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, I have unmuted you. You can ask your question.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are. Yes.
My biggest fear is darkness. When I was studying in my room, there was a time of exams last year, and suddenly the lights went off. I was so scared. I didn't know why. Usually, I didn't get so much fear of that darkness, but at that time, my heart was beating so fast, and I just get to my parents. That was the biggest fear I ever felt.
How old are you?
I'm 12 years old.
Okay. And when did you go through this experience? When did this happen?
In class six, the last year.
In last year. Okay. Do you read books? Are you fond of reading?
Yes, ma'am. I love reading books.
You love reading. You've seen any horror movies and stuff? Do you enjoy? I love horror movies. You do
Yeah,
you?
I do. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes. We do see all of those movies like which ones do you remember? Good movies. Any horror
Horror
movie?
movies. At this time, I'm not able to
Yeah,
say.
yeah. Even I'm not able to recall which of them is uh Annabelle. Annabelle, no?
Yeah, Annabella, something like that.
Annabella was there, yes. And then Scream, no?
Yeah.
So very nice. Thank you for sharing. I think very good. You're saying that you are scared of the dark. About, I would say about more than 50 to 60% of children to teenage do get scared of the dark. You know why? Because somewhere growing up years itself has bedtime stories, friends get together. Sometimes it's a parent saying, if you don't sleep, then that boogeyman will come from the window, and we unknowingly. So childhood times are a lot of these fictional stories, good and bad. I mean, we have the good ones also, but somewhere the bad ones will have an effect on us. No, even the good ones and time will do. So one of the ways, my dear child, is to not be so strict on yourself. Don't be so strict on yourself that I'm scared. So if at night, suppose you are a little comfortable with a small night light, a small light somewhere, please keep that on, because sometimes it's just growing up years, our stories, the voodoo and the magic and the ghosty stuff that we all read about, that can overwhelm us. Just shutting the light. I get scared of things even now, So if you see a horror movie and you just are about to sleep, you'll get those images, no? So I would request you that keep some small light on, one. And second, do you pray at night before you sleep?
Um, Sometimes.
Sometimes. Okay. Do you believe in God a little bit?
Yes, I do.
You do, you do. We all at somewhere believe, no? Because mom and dad tell us have the prayers at night. In the morning, school prayers are there. We have our own spiritual, religious ways. Wonderful platform, children. Wonderful platform to just hand over your fears to that energy, the higher power, and say, you know what? I am scared of dark, God. I'm keeping the light on, but give me happy dreams, please, huh? And keep me, happy. So the moment you pray, somewhere you are transferring the energies, your energies, onto somebody higher than you. Very important part, kids, is it's okay to have fears. It's okay to be scared about. It is not something which stays with you permanently if you don't deal with it now. So one of the ways to deal with it is first to make it, you have to say this to yourself, because that's what we're talking about it. It's irrational. In the dark room, it's just the darkness. It's the absence of light which is dark. Darkness itself has no entity on its own. Am I right? Yes? Look at the philosophical part of it. That darkness actually is nothing. It's just the absence of light. So have that little light in your room, have that little light in your head, in your heart, and say, I think it's pretty silly to be scared of the dark. I'm okay. My God is taking care of me to give me happy dreams. Yes? Can you try doing that for yourself and help your brothers, sisters, anybody else who goes through distress? Can you do that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, lovely. God bless you. Very nice. Good to hear you share. Very nice. Okay. So Piyush, for you is, just said to you in the beginning, actually go in places where you are scared of. If you acknowledge this as irrational, then instead of saying कि यहाँ नहीं जाऊंगा मैं वहां नहीं जाऊंगा, बोलो कि आज तो हिम्मत करके अकेले जाऊंगा मैं लिफ्ट में. पहले किसी के साथ जाओ, फिर अकेले जाओ. सो डर के आगे ही जीत है. प्रखर ने बोल दिया है, माउंटेन ड्यू भी पी लेना बाद में जब फियर्स ओवरकम हो जाए. ठीक है? ओके, गॉट इट पीयूष?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, good going. So there is something what we talk about fears. There's another, when I was just making my notes, I said youngsters को कैसे explain किया जाए कि mental health होता क्या है? What exactly is mental health? The word mental seems like what you need to be mental, like they show in movies, they make fun of things.
Yeah.
No. I would rather say mind. I would rather say mind health. Because mental कुछ वो word ही ऐसा है, पता नहीं हम लोग की movies में है, हम लोग की language में है, जो हम लोग बोलते हैं तो mental हो गया है क्या? Are you a mental case?
And
We
that's
use it.
portrayed in a very insensitive way in the media that we are consuming every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So while we bring awareness that not to use words which are sensitive, while we do that, we can also then make it convenient for us as to what we can do. So if somebody says to me, I'm not very comfortable using the word mental, okay, let's keep it mind. So when we're talking about mind health, like we're talking about the Mind Health Day on 10th of October, I just thought I'll just quickly I'll just quickly talk about 5 points. I'll just narrate them to you. They're just simple 5 signs of mind illness. Okay? Kids, I hope you're all listening to me. Very simple. If you can understand them, then you'll say, okay, these are the 5 basic symptoms of mind illness. Okay? So the first one is long-lasting sadness or irritability. Long-lasting would mean more than 6 to 8 weeks. If you are consistently sad and irritable, you are not cooperating with people, you're just very upset with everything for more than 6 to 8 continuous period, then we're talking of early signs of a mind illness or a mental illness. First point. We all don't stay sad every day, right, Piyush? Alankrita? Any input you'd like to give us about when are you sad and when are you not? Alankrita, I'd like to hear from you. Is she there? Or anybody?
I'm not going well with my mother.
Ah.
I'm sad. That's the only thing which makes me sad. Because
Okay.
even if something happens at work, it settles down by the time I rest my head on the pillow.
Hmm.
But when it comes to personal, my mother is the only one sensitive nerve that I have.
So what makes you sad that
When
your
we
mother
have
is
arguments and when whether she is mad at me or when I'm
ah
mad at her.
ah very nice. Such a beautiful thought you've expressed, Alankrita. So it goes to show that you have a fabulous bond, a very good positive bond with your mother, an emotional bond. But
Yes.
yes, but somewhere when we are emotionally very connected to somebody, what we'll end up doing, we'll end up seeking approval. हम लोग बोलते हैं कि वो खुश रहे हमसे. हम क्या करें कि वो हमेशा खुश रहे हमसे. And that's unreal. Nobody can stay happy with one thing forever and ever and ever. So somewhere Alankrita needs to little bit detach her approval seeking. She can be totally attached to mother. लेकिन जरूरी नहीं है कि मम्मी जब खुश हो तो ही अलंकृता खुश हो सकता है मम्मी के अपना परसेप्शन हो. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अलंकृता has done superlatively well on Fairgaze. One day she did a webinar and it was all over in the newspapers. मम्मी says टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया में आया बस, हिंदुस्तान टाइम में आ जाता अच्छा होता, इकोनॉमिक्स टाइम में आना चाहिए तुम्हारा. She says you've done okay but you can do better. Now Alankrita gets sad about that. See, I couldn't do well, I couldn't do as much as she wanted me to. It's time for Alankrita to separate the two things, her aspirations, mummy's, and your own, what we call, there's a word we use, positive strokes. हम लोग अपने आप को अप्रिशिएट नहीं करते, हम लोग बुढ़ापे तक अपने आप को अप्रिशिएट नहीं करते. We wait for others to appreciate us, and that is what we say is self-esteem issues. So what you can start doing, separate the two things. Just say, okay, mummy wants this, just acknowledgement, but what do I want to do? So you give yourself positive strokes, and if you are having a good relationship with your mother, eventually she will understand that आप दोनों के aspirations थोड़े different हैं एक दूसरे से. So learn to communicate with your mother. And yes, it happens. So you have the good days and bad days, right, Alankrita? You have good and bad days?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But if your sadness stays for 6 to 8 weeks continuously, so people who are feeling sad, then they don't eat too well, they don't sleep too well, they're always awake, disturbing thoughts, internal आवाज आती हैं दिमाग में, too much chatter, too much of noise, all random thoughts. Thoughts don't stay in one place. It goes from this, that. They are not able to sleep well, they're not able to eat well. All of those symptoms aayenge, which I'm going to quickly talk about. And then they start avoiding work because they haven't slept, they haven't eaten properly. Then they say, aaj office nahi jana. Boss ne bulaya, bol do bimar hu main. A boss pata hai gussa karega, the boss is going to get angry or going to, haul you up. You avoid then more. Then further stress builds up. And then that is what we say is onset of depression, where the person feels that I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck. I'm pushed against a wall. And sometimes people then take extreme steps because they feel they are pushed against the wall. So these are the symptoms. The second one is extreme increase of moods, extreme erratic moods. I just now explained to you about 20 minutes back. There's something known as a bipolar disorder, which means you go in a mania state and you go in a depressive state. Generally, MDP, manic depressive psychosis, generally happens to young adults and not teenagers. But like I said in the beginning, if you find yourself too moody and your friends tell you, abhi 2 minutes pehle to you were this, 10 minutes later you were this, that means possible that you need to do some introspection. I don't say you need to go in for therapy straight away. Talk to your, like I said, mentors, teachers. We have professionals, like I said, at Fairgaze. So talk to them, find out that is this an onset of a psychological problem? If you are having erratic mood swings, lot of youngsters, young girls before their periods, before their periods begin. There is a 4-5 days gap, 4-5 days before the onset of periods. They become very irritable, moody, crying spells, bloating. Those are hormonal changes, and they are called premenstrual syndrome, PMS, which stays for 4-5 days. That's nothing to worry about. Don't say, I don't know what's happened to me. Why am I crying? Am I mentally ill? No. So you first observe yourself and see. Then we are looking at excessive fears. We spoke about fears. See, that's exactly why we spoke about it. Excessive fear and worry and anxiety. 3 cheezein hain. In fact, I'll say 4 things. There are 4 killer emotions. These are emotions. If you are going through them one by one regularly, cyclic, pehla, dusra, teesra, that means you are getting in an psychological whirlpool. What are those 4 things? Fear, we spoke about it. Okay. Worry. Second, worry leads to anxiety. I'll tell you what is the difference between the two. So fear, worry, anxiety, and the 4th one is anger. These 4 things are I'm missing out because worry and anxiety are the same. There's something known as guilt. Fear, worry, guilt, and anger. These are the 4 things which are cesspool. They are toxins leading to poor mental health. Can anyone repeat those 4 things to me quickly? Because I know I sound like a teacher. It will be a refresher course. Quickly, students, can anyone tell me what are the 4 toxins which ruin our mental health? Yes, after this, I think Stanzen has a question. Stanzen, do you have the answer for this? 4 toxins of...
Ma'am, I have a question about my phobia.
Okay. Who is this? Give me your name.
Discuss with you?
What we can do is, yes, we'll discuss this. Can you write it in the notes here in the chat, in our chat window? Just share it with us, or just with me, and we'll take that up. I think we cannot take up active cases right now, but why? Because we will have to also wind up for the evening. You can put in here. You can share your story. It can be part of the competition that Alankrita was talking about today. So do share with us. We can do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There is SK has given the right answer. SK has written. I asked the question: what are the 4 toxins, the toxic elements which make us psychologically sick? SK, congratulations. Thank you for the great input. You have said fear, worry, guilt, and anger. So SK gets that. Very good. Good going. SK, would you like to share something? Do you feel any of these elements are there in your life and you're dealing with them effectively? SK, would you like to say, or would you just like? Yes, I think yes. So Gize Domina is in 7C. She's also written, there are 4: anger, guilt, worry, and fear. So excellent. And as I was talking about the toxins, then there's another symptom of mind. I'll quickly finish this, please. I think it's Piyush saying something. I'll quickly finish the social withdrawal. You know, like I was giving the example, when you avoid going to office and then you avoid people. You know, your friends will come and say, what happened? Why don't you go to the office? So you avoid, you socially withdraw. Your mother's asking you, what's wrong? Why aren't you going? Are you feeling okay? No, I'm okay. You don't speak anything. Social withdrawal is another symptom of signs of mental illness. And like I said, drastic change in eating and sleeping pattern, drastic changes. Temporary changes is okay. 2-3 days differences here and there, it's okay. But if it's more than 6 to 8 weeks, we have the onset of mental illness. Yes, Piyush, you were saying something?
We have to wind up this session in next 5 minutes, and then Alankita, you have to explain all the detailing about the competition and the activities that we are doing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've taken up the basics of mental health, kids. It's very important to address your fears, address your worry. One is a legitimate worry, one is irrational worry. You know, what will I do in a teenager thinking, what am I going to do in future? Very irrational, you know, it can cause anxiety to me also. What will I do in future? I don't know. So one day at a time. Take up realistic goals, plan your day. There's something known as immediate goal, what you can do every day. It could be 1, 2, 3 things, which is basically your studies, keep eating properly, sleeping on time, doing some exercises, a little meditation, and helping around the house to have a good relationship with your family members. Basic adjustment issues. Then there's something known as short-term plans that, okay, in my midterm, this is the kind of marks I would like to get. This is a subject I would like to so what we're trying to do is what we say is adjustment. The more adjusted you are in the environment, the better health you will be. And you know that our Fair Gaze will be having series, which Alankrita will be explaining to us, which is the mental well-being webinar is going to be held, and all the details Alankrita is going to give. Just before I have fear of insects. Yeah, Stanzen. Oh yes, creepy crawly things, you know. Yes. Part of it is realistic because there's some which are a little poisonous. It can sting, it can cause you skin rash. Being a little careful with insects is okay. Stanzen has said to me that I have a fear of insects, but not to let it affect your daily life. So it's good to be safe if you're going in a lot of green pastures and foresty area. Cover yourself, wear full stockings or your track pants. But I repeat, the method, kids, is the same what I said in the beginning. You face your fears and the fears will disappear. So facing would mean actually going through videos, clips of insects. Read about them. You'll be surprised. It's in our mind that they're all poisonous and they all bite. No. So read about them, be more informed, and definitely your fears will reduce with time. So any other questions, guys? Anything else? And then, of course, I'm going to hand over the summing up. I'll be handing it over to Alankrita. But any other question, any other concern, we are here for you at Fair Gaze all the time. Yes. Anybody? Yeah. Hi, your voice is... Your audio is not clear, my dear child.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, sure. Who is that?
Ma'am, ma'am, crying is also a mental illness or toxins.
Which one? Which one you said?
Crying.
Crying. No, it's not a toxin. No, in fact, crying is a way to express emotions to yourself. Crying happens because of fear. It can happen because of worry. It can also happen because of guilt. It can also happen because of anger. You know, we can also cry when we are angry. Yeah. Yes. So it is not a toxin. It is a way to tell you that you have to deal with why do you cry? What makes you cry? So you find those things, what makes you cry? And then you address them. For example, if you're very scared of your mother, for example, she's very strict, for example, then you can speak to her and say, Mama, you know, your tone is so hard. Sometimes I feel a little scared. If you don't tell your mama, then who will you tell it to? So communicate, kids, with your parents, how you're feeling. Communicate, tell them, learn to speak your emotions. That's what the FEG is all about, sharing your stories with us, yeah? So crying is okay. It's okay to cry. But why are you crying? You need to address those issues. All right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Yeah, we're going to wind up. We have another 2 minutes, 1 minute maybe. Anybody else, please?
Please mute yourself. Sakshan, can you mute XYZ? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. All right, so
Just give me a second. Yeah. Just continue. Give me 1 second. Yeah.
all right, so we would like to thank all the attendees here for attending this webinar. So we and Feges and Dr. Madhumati Singh is trying to help those who are dealing with this kind of pressures and depressions and mental illness. So we are celebrating this complete week as a mental health week. So on 10th of October we are celebrating the mental health day also. So throughout this week we are trying to help those who need help or who need support in any manner that we can do. So we have designed some kind of activities and the competitions for the students, and that activities and the competition detail will be given by the Alankrita after me. So we would request you to join again and be a part of this campaign with Feges. So we are also we will be narrating many stories on Friday in Coffee with Counselor show. So rest, I would request Alankrita to please give them a detail about the activities in the
Yes, sir.
competition. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you so much, ma'am. That has been a wonderful session. And as you rightly said, it's high time that we start take caring of our headquarters. That's really important, more than what appears on the surface. And that's the biggest lesson that we're taking back. So facing, dealing, and taking, talking about it becomes very important, and it surely helps.
Absolutely.
So I would like to brief everyone about the activities that we are going to hold as part of the initiative that we have taken for World Mental Health Day, and we will be dedicating this whole week to mental health, and by not only understanding the importance of being aware, but also encouraging students like you to come up and share your stories. So we have a platform on our website where you can share your stories in text or videos. Secondly, you can also give your stories in form of an interview. So today's webinar that we had was the awareness stage where we talked about mental health and why it is important. It was definitely a part of the initiative that we've taken. And there's this platform for students to submit their stories either in writing or videos about fears, anxieties that you've faced, or if you're still facing, whether you've battled, whether you have not, or what were the ways did you overcome. So there are 3 questions, and you can take 2 questions and answer that interview, and you can submit it. And you do not have to worry about your privacy. If you want, your name will definitely be anonymous on the website, and you can, after the story is approved, when you submit it, you can check your story, and we will be sharing the link of the registration where you can go and submit your story. And I would encourage more and more students to participate in this, because it's very important to let out your fear. There are a lot of things which are crippled inside of us, and it becomes difficult when each day passes. So I would encourage everyone, this is a wonderful platform to come and share your fears. And apart from that, if you feel that you still need to talk more about it, or there are some things which cannot be written down or penned down or spoken in the video, Fairgaze has a platform which has our counselors. You can definitely book an appointment with them, and then they will definitely assist you with their best of abilities. And these stories that you submit, so we are holding a series of webinars, and the stories that we will receive, some of the best stories will be read by Dr. Madhumati Singh on the 9th of October, which is a special episode of Coffee with Counselors. So that will be an interactive session also. So those stories will be read, and that session can also be dedicated to coming up with your fear. So I would request everyone to feel free, and I would request Saksham sir to please screen share and show them the link so that, yeah, you can see on the screen. This is the platform where you can go and submit your stories. You can register and find out more about the details. You can fill the name, your class, school, phone, email, and then you can upload it and submit. These are the 3 kinds of activities that we are doing. So we are holding webinars, the series of webinars that we are holding to encourage you to talk about your fears. Then the second is when you will share your story. And the third is in the form of interviews and opinion, which can be submitted as well. And these stories can be submitted both via text or in the form of a video as per your convenience. Please go through the link. I think I've pasted the link. And yeah, these the questions that sir has highlighted. You can take up any of these questions, and then you can interview the person and submit the video. For any further help, you can go to the link anytime and find out more about the. You can also download our app and stay updated with all the upcoming webinars which keep happening. And these webinars are definitely very good for students like you. And I will encourage each one of you to come up, face your fear. And I would like to thank Dr. Madhumati for, bestowing upon us such a wonderful session, ma'am.
I'm so glad. I'm glad everybody was here interacting. Lots of love and blessings to all of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. See you again soon.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.